Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode number 74. Yep, this time I'm reviewing the 18th film in the series, Dimensional Sniper, released in 2014. This film has the first film appearances of these four characters. Yes, these four characters make their first ever appearance. Actually, there are five characters. First appearance movie. You have Masami Sarah, first of, or at the time anyways, before the next one comes out, which comes in a couple weeks in Japan, her first appearance in movies. And for a while, this was her only appearance. Though she is going to appear in the next film that's actually coming out next month. But yeah, this is her only appearance for quite a while. It's also Shu Aki. He makes his first film appearance, first of two, though he's going to make another appearance, basically. Be first of kind of like three. And you also see the first film appearances for James, Carmel, and Jody. Yep. And they, for their first film appearance, they get a lot to do in this film, which I do appreciate that. Though it kind of hampers in the fact that the regular police, basically, police characters in the series, they disappear towards the end of the movie. Yeah, in this movie you have Maguire, Santos, Takagi, Sato, and Keba. You have just these characters. And I'm thinking though, like, okay, now I know for a fact at this point Yumi is still around. Yeah, she's the only regular I could think of who is not actually in this film. Everyone else is, but not Yumi. Yumi's like the only one I can think of who's not in this film. I mean, I think that her partner didn't make her debut. I'm not really sure, but yeah. This film starts off at the Beltree Tower, where you have Conan, Detective Boys, Sonoko, Ran, and of course much more at the Beltree Tower. They're basically there for a school project. Yep, get nice cool shots. And then we see a guy being very arrogant to some of his friends. Basically how proud he is. You see Sarah in the background, spying on him for some reason. Though it's not revealed later. And then the guy she's spying on gets shot by a freaking sniper. Yep. Now, who this sniper is, they suspect that the whole movie is this one guy, but actually it's somebody else. Yeah. And they kind of track down where this guy is, and there's a mystery of who this sniper is. And apparently he leaves a calling card. You see a snipe, you see a shell of a bullet, probably the one this guy used to shoot the other guy, and a blue die. A blue dice. I'm like, and it's set at 4. Yes. Yeah, 4. Why 4? No idea. And, well, it's not revealed. Here's kind of the strange thing about this. The whole point of that particular die is to set up the ending of the movie. At least unlike last film, where I set up these various plot points and never explore them, this film, they actually explore them. And for Sarah, who this is being her first appearance in movies, she's in the movie good. She gets a good amount of screen time. She gets a lot to do until toward the end of the movie, which I won't. I'll get to that. So yeah, everybody's basically later debriefed at police headquarters what happened. And Sarah, and of course, Conan asked the obvious question, what was Sarah doing there? The answer, a relative of hers, basically about this guy who was engaged to a relative, a friend of a classmate of hers, asked to basically follow him. And, well, since he's dead, don't have to marry him. No, we're getting remarried. Yep. Yeah, that's who this person is. The movie never reveals it. This plot point is just barely introduced, and it's dropped immediately. Though Sarah herself basically spends a lot of the movie protecting Conan. Heck, she even promises Ran that she'll protect Conan, and she does. That promise actually is fulfilled. She doesn't lie about it at all. And slowly but surely we have 2 more victims, basically. We have another victim, which of course, this is something interesting though. When they're following one guy, he gets killed, and basically they chase after the person, and of course they get away. Of course they discover they or die, and then they try to figure out exactly like Well, where's and of course they think it's this guy Timothy Hunter. They think he's the one responsible for this, and it's revealed that he was a recipient of the Silver Star, and apparently he fought in the Middle East. Now, from the look of it, it could have been either Afghanistan, and since they mentioned it was 2005 when this happened, okay? So, it could have been one of two places that this could have happened. It could have happened in Afghanistan, or it could have happened in Iraq. Surprisingly, though, this is the first case closed movie to actually mention the stuff going on in the Middle East. Yeah, that's quite something, the fact this is the first ever to mention this. I've never heard of a film actually mentioning real life events, because the thing is, the series, since it started back in 1993, has pretty much kept up with modern times. It does acknowledge any passes of time that much. I think maybe barely a year has passed by. Oh yeah, and they mentioned that this is going to be their summer project. Okay. Does this mean they're entering second grade? Yeah, that particular thing is just brought up a couple times in the movie, but they don't do anything with it because the movies themselves are not essentially canon of this series, but they're great things to watch. And the only reason why the studio makes them because they make them a boatload of money. That's the simple gist of it. Yep. And they slowly investigate exactly who was actually behind this. They suspected that, of course, they talked to a real admiral who has a sniper who's Asian, whose name is Carlos. I'm thinking, Asian man with name Carlos. That kind of makes no sense. Because a name like Carlos is usually someone who's usually Hispanic. Why Asian? This makes no freaking sense at all. Also, this movie I thought this is actually the first movie to ever actually explore this. Yeah, this has happened a few times in the series. Where, here's the thing, you have the voice actors actually speaking English. Which, from the way the characters are, yeah, it makes perfect sense for these characters to speak English in the movie. Yeah, which I'm like, huh, that's interesting. I never suspected, basically, them doing that before. And here's kind of the thing. The people who do the sub for this movie, apparently, of course, these are fan subs. I do highly appreciate. I do like the ones on this particular website when they do the fan sub, because there's no official English sub released here, so I have to basically watch for me. It's a legal website, don't worry, it's perfectly fine. They do a really good job when it comes to subbing. Yeah. And they don't sub, they don't basically, well, I can tell they do, I'm not sure if these people, there were subtitles for, like when people speaking English and they had like Japanese subtitles underneath. Yeah, my guess is they must remove those and replaced it with basically keeping just doing the whole English subtitle thing, and just basically so people have a good idea what the heck they're talking about. And it's happened a few times. Also, and this guy, I'm surprised in the movie, he gets very little screen time. Which character is it? It's a character who's actually with the city of Kaito. Yeah, he makes a movie. And what does he do? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, in the movies, and it's appeared a few times TV show, and you do nothing with him except for the fact he shows up, talks to one guy, his chipmunk makes an appearance, and that's simply it for the character. And it's expected for Kaito. He was like, it was almost like a brief cameo. I'm like, what? So you bring him in and you don't bother to actually have him appear more than just a few times. Oh yeah, it's Fumiko Abakichi. Yeah, he pops up because he's associated with Kaito, and then of course they have a character who's staying in Kaito on vacation, and he's just happily there. By the way, and this I think is kind of basically the fall of having the FBI agents in the movie. Yeah, the police characters, they do pretty much jack squat. Yeah, there is some investigating. They talk to some people. They don't really. They advance the plot very little in the movie. Yeah, it's like you have the regular police characters, and they're basically kind of put to the side because the FBI are here. Yeah. Though here's kind of the thing about this particular movie. At least the FBI are actually written to be how the actual FBI are, unlike traditionally how they're depicted, because the FBI traditionally are not very nice people in fiction, especially I've seen Law and Order, where they're basically dicks to people. They're just basically spill investigation because we're federal agents, we can do whatever the heck we want. Yeah, I remember this one episode of Criminal Intent where this one FBI agent who was undercover, who actually committed a crime while he was undercover, and like first gagged the person's name, and then eventually his superior found out about what he did, and he's like, "I want nothing to do with you. Cuff him." Yeah, yeah, and this is very traditional FBI stuff that they do a lot of the time fiction that I've seen. Because maybe some people who write fictional FBI don't like the real life FBI, so write them to be complete dicks to people just because they're federal agents and they have higher authority than regular law enforcement. But case closed? No, they don't. They are written to be very on equal footing, and there's a mention of the Black Organization movie a couple of times. And here's the thing: they don't play a role in this movie. They're referenced. You see the images of a few of the characters, but that's it. That's all you see of them. There's nothing much else to do when it comes to the Black Organization. I think they pop up in that movie. I think pop up in not next. No, I think it's one of the next two movies. Is one of the next three movies. Not gonna be in the 23rd. It came out the previous year. It's probably gonna be either 20, 21, or 22 when they had the Black Organization show up in the movies. Yeah, but I like the fact they're referenced in the movie because the FBI is still investigating them. And here's kind of the thing: their investigation of the Black Organization has not been concluded yet. It's still ongoing. Though they haven't made an appearance in quite a while, actually. Yes, the last time they appeared was in a filler episode. Though you see brief images of them, but yeah, they have not appeared in quite some time in the manga, and they haven't appeared in the anime in quite some time either. Yep. So, after finding out now Richard Moore, what does he do in the movie? Jack frickin' Squy. He pops up for a few scenes. Yeah, aside from the fact in one scene he's standing, a lot of the time you see Richard Moore, he's always sitting. Yeah, and he's one of the main characters of the series, and he makes one deduction, which is odd, but it's kind of on point. Yeah, he kind of points to this rear admiral possibly behind it. I mean, he may not be the one behind the scope, but maybe his personal sniper. It's possible. They do investigate it, but it's the only plot point that really goes nowhere. Yeah, Richard Moore is seen once after that in his office a couple times, and that's it. Yeah. Rachel, of course, most of the movie gets a chance to do nothing. Serena, nothing. And the junior detective league, they get a chance to do some things, not very much. Yeah, and what about Sarah? She's with Conan a lot of the time in the movie until she saves him from being shot by the sniper. She basically gets a bullet wound in the frickin' shoulder. She's rushed to the hospital, and then she's out of the movie. Well, she's still making an appearance in the movie, but she's basically kind of out of the story. And she's there in the hospital bed. She's been the rest of the movie in the hospital bed. And then, of course, we had the finale of the movie take place at the bell tower. Now, here's kind of the thing. Now, Tim Hunter is later killed by the actual sniper because it's kind of revealed that this guy, he actually hired the actual sniper to commit these crimes. Because the thing is, he was shot in the head when he was in the Middle East. And they reveal the reason behind it later. So apparently he suffered from partial blindness and migraines. So it's kind of rolled out once they figured that out about him. Of course, when they do an autopsy on him, yeah, he is not the one behind it. It's actually somebody else who's the actual sniper. And he does his final sniping from the top of Bell Tower. Yeah, Bell Tree Tower. Mm-hmm. Yep. And luckily enough, as for there's one guy now that he takes the guy Murphy on the train, which is also the same point when Sarah gets shot. Yeah, and Murphy was working for this guy named Waltz. Yeah, the reasoning because they took away Tim Hunter's Silver Star because he knew information about their shooting spree. Yeah, the guy covered up his own freaking mess by framing another guy for something he did not commit. Yeah, there's one guy they talked to in the movie who actually, a couple of them who knew Tim Hunter, and first guy basically just thought the evidence was fine. The other guy's like, the evidence was phony. He was framed. Yeah. They also kind of revealed Tim Hunter lost a lot of weight. He looked pretty thin for someone who's supposed to be a sniper. Because usually people in the military are usually very fit. And yeah. Oh, by the way, who actually shot him in the head? It was Bill Murphy. Yeah, that's the guy's name, Bill Murphy. And we're thinking, Bill. You mean Bill Cosby? Bill Murray? No, Bill Murphy. Yeah, completely. Plus, he's black. Yeah, but he plays very little role in the movie aside from he gets shot. Yep, and the guy Walt was actually responsible for Tim Hunter basically losing a star. So the actor calls him out, calls him to a place where he can basically tell the deal between snipers, and he finds a perfect place, basically from a public bathroom he can do the sniping to. Of course, as mentioned, the action person's like, there's only one. Now, there's one particular over here. There's only one person I know of who actually can make that shot from that particular building, and it's Aki. Yep, he is the one basically who can make that shot. Where the devil's in the silver bullet. The thing is, he was given that nickname by the Black Organization. Yes, they're the ones who call them that. And here's kind of the strange thing. Vermouth also calls Conan the Silver Bullet because she thinks that Conan would be the one responsible for taking the Black Organization. It's possible, but who knows? They haven't really delved into the actual series in a while. Yep. And eventually Kevin, the guy's name is Kevin. Yeah, Kevin, I think it is. Let's see if I can find his name here. His name is, where is he? Kevin Ashido? Yeah. Yeah, he was the one who actually believed that Tim Hunter was basically framed. And what happened with Tim Hunter is that because of the whole bullet thing, he lost his family, he went bankrupt, and he basically lost everything. All because of what Waltz did. Mm-hmm. Eventually, of course, Waltz himself was basically taken conscious by Conan, and then Conan basically shot up by Kevin, and then Kevin is shot by Aki, who was disguised as Subaru, and just by sheer coincidence, apparently the Junior Detective League, along with Ran and Sonoko, decided to go to the Beltry Tower to complete the project. They have no idea that a madman with a freaking gun is in the building. Luckily enough that the FBI are there, they get in because they mention McGuire once again, though he doesn't really do anything in this movie. They go in, and then of course, the Kevin that takes out Sonoko kind of knocks her out and takes Amy hostage. Everyone's like shocked by this. Of course, Ran gets a little late, but she gets there. Eventually, of course, thanks to Conan and Subaru taking out the guy's gun, Ren decides to beat the living crap out of him. It's like, this is for Ame, this is for Sonoko, this is for Sarah. And after kicking him so hard, he basically almost falls like 2 stories down a freaking staircase. Lucky enough, Carmel's there to catch him. Oh, and he's actually arrested for all the murders. Yep, he's arrested for the murders. Walt is arrested for the stuff he did in the Middle East. By the way, the whole thing with Carlos and his boss. Yeah, that plot point, they're seeing their ones give Walt a gun. But that's it. Yep. All nice wrapped up. Soronico has no idea what happened. And here's kind of the strange thing. Now, and this is something that I kind of call bullcrap on. Now, in the show, Jodie kind of wrote off her being FBI to her being playing FBI, but nope, she's actually FBI. This movie, she doesn't say anything about it. She doesn't talk to her later about, say, oh yeah, good job, Maury. Yep. That's kind of the thing. Jodie and Ren had no interaction. I mean, they're on screen compared to the time, but here's the thing. These two never interact the whole movie, which I'm like, really? Ren, this one was your teacher, who's also an FBI agent. Why in the world why don't you have any interaction with her? At all. I call that kind of dumb. And as for James himself, well, he doesn't get a chance to do much of anything. Mostly just Carmel and Jodie do all the legwork in the movie. Yep. And of course, the post-credits scene is simply like, oh yes, Eric's gone to the hospital and Conan is being punished by the detective boys for not helping them, basically by painting it himself, and then basically exploring, of course, a need to keep an eye on him. That's simply that. A lot of better movie than the last one, but at least they're not have like 5 or 6 plot points introduced and then they're dropped immediately. This movie only has one plot point that goes nowhere, but at least that, well, all the plot points actually are followed up with. It's written a lot better than the last film. Also, Blue Dye, it forms a pentagon that centers on the Belfry Tower, which is where the final snap is going to take place. Yep. Movies overall, really good. Okay? So, that's it for this particular review. Once again, second week in a row, no regular My Hero Academia anime review due to no new dub episode. But yeah, I still got a couple more, at least a few more videos I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to do 2 more Case Closed videos today. One review of the newest episodes of the series, and another one focused on the movie. And right now, next one I'm going to do is a review of a newer comic corner. Yep, on 2 more books. You'll find out what they are in the next video, okay? See you there. Bye.